Hello and welcome to Verbling. Hi there, I am Teacher Oakley. Today, at this hour here on Verbling, we will conclude our little mini four-part series on the TOEFL speaking exam. Today, we're going to tackle questions 5 and 6 of the exam. Now, as I've pretty much been doing all week, my advice and my technique for dealing with the TOEFL exam, the speaking exam, is to know what you're going to do before you ever go to the testing center. Basically, in my opinion, one needs to have a templated response. You need to know basically your structure or your outline and just fill in the blank, fill in the content with your notes to fill out your response. And we're going to do that today. We're going to walk through questions 5 and question 6 today, so as to get a feel for how to do that. Hello, Anton.
Hello,
hey.
How are you
How are
today?
you? I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great.
Great. Glad to hear it. Okay, Anton, I want to get to both these questions, and we're gonna be making suggestions as we go along. So I'm just gonna jump right in. I'm not gonna wait around for more students. More students out there in Verbling viewing the class. Come on in. And if you come on in, then you're gonna get a chance to practice answering, and I can critique you and give you some idea of what you may need to change. All right, Anton, I'm gonna go ahead and do a screen share here. Well, actually, no, let me introduce question 5, what it is and what you need to do. Actually, let me do that first. Question 5, oh, great, Melkor has joined us. Terrific. Hi, Melkor.
Hi, good morning, mate. Oakley.
It's okay, not a problem. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we're going on to questions 5 and 6. Question 5, I'm going to explain a little bit about it, and then we're going to actually walk through one. Okay, question 5, again, like question 3, you're dealing with a conversation. Unlike questions 3 and 4, where you have reading and conversation, and then you're doing reported speech in question 3, and in question 4, you're doing some comparison. In question 5, what they're looking for is really opinion, and supporting an opinion is the main idea of the question. So questions 5 and 6, you hear an audio. Question 5, it's a conversation. Question 6, it will be a lecture, an academic lecture. In question 5, 2 students will be talking about a problem. It's always a problem. It's always the same thing. 2 students, always a man and a woman, which makes it easier to talk about. The man says, and the woman disagrees because. All right, so it's easy to reference the speakers. All right, man and a woman. Somebody's got a problem. Maybe the man, maybe the woman. Who cares? In any case, they discuss the problem, and the person that doesn't have the problem is going to make a couple of suggestions, possible solutions to the problem. That's it. That's basically what happens. They will be, when they're speaking, there will be distractors. They'll say things that are not really pertinent, not really important, but you need to really listen for things like, one thing you could do, well, you know, another idea is, that's what you need to be, that's the material you're going to need when you answer the question. So really listen for those signal phrases. Basically, that's it. Now, the question is always the same, and here's why TOEFL is different than other speaking exams. the question is always the same, in the same order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You pretty much know exactly what the question is going to be. Question 5 is always, they will ask you to summarize the problem, choose a solution, state your preference, and then support that choice. Or so basically, it's an opinion. You have to give the background. The problem is, I would choose to do this, and here's why. That's what they need you to do. Okay, basically. So, all right, here we go. We're not going to listen to an audio, just to make it a little easier and get an idea so we can refer back to it. We're going to look at a transcript here. Okay. Question?
Okay.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think I have problems with my iPhone. Can I just log out and I'm going to log in back?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. We'll hang out for a minute.
Oh. Okay, there you go. I think I got it already. I already sorted this out. Okay, thank you, Oakley.
Okay. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Okay. So here we go. Question 5. Now I'm going to give Anton first shot at this because he was first in the class. So Melkor, I would like you to participate with me. We're going to do the dialogue. So Anton, you listen carefully. Feel free, grab a pencil and a paper and make notes. What you're listening for, Anton, is the problem, first of all. You've got to state the problem. And secondly, the possible solutions. You've got to be able to pick up I write, when I'm writing notes, S1. And then maybe D1. S1, solution, and a little bit of detail. Just a couple words. S2, detail 2, like that. That's all you need. But you got to be listening for that. Okay, Melkor, as usual, I'll be the woman. You can go ahead and be the man. First thing you're going to hear the narrator, and the narrator's going to say, "Listen to a conversation between two students." And go. Yes.
It looks like I've got a big problem on my hands.
Yeah? What's wrong?
I think I've overbooked myself with this semester. I took 5 classes and 2 of them are really demanding. I have 2 really big projects to do, and I don't think I can do both of them.
Oh no. Really sounds like you've got a lot of stuff on your plate. Have you talked to your professors yet?
No, I don't see how that would help.
Well, you could ask for an extension. Last summer, I asked Professor Miller for an extension on my psychology project. She was really nice about it and gave me 2 more weeks to finish it.
I could do that, but can I take that extension forever? The fact is that I still have a lot of work to do for these classes.
I guess. But it could help you open up your schedule for now, so you're not so stressed out, you know?
Right.
Of course, there is one other option, but it's kind of drastic. You could drop one of the classes and take it next semester. Still early enough to do that.
That could work, but I really didn't want to think about it. But I may have to.
Okay, and then you will hear the narrator again. The students discuss 2 possible solutions to the problem. Describe the problem and state which of the 2 solutions you prefer and why. Okay, again, note the question. Very important that you understand the question. You need to do 3 things. You need to describe the problem, state your opinion, which is the best solution, and why. So you've got to get all that in. The hard part is that, of course, you only have 1 minute to do so because you're on a timer in the TOEFL exam. Well, Anton, Are you ready to give it a shot?
Yeah.
Cool. Now, normally I have to say you would have 20 seconds, to prepare only, and then you need to speak for 60 seconds. So, anyway, Anton, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, the problem is that one of the students overbooked his classes, and now he have no time to fulfill of all that all his classes. One, I think the probably best solution would be to drop one of the classes, and because he uh, even if he that will ask for extension, he he still has no enough time to fulfill of all classes. That's it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. You've covered the basics here. All right. I think you're probably a little bit under 60 seconds, which you really don't want to do, but we weren't really timing it. So, okay. You've got at least the basics. Now, I want to share with you guys kind of a templated response here. Okay. Now, and we'll talk about your answer in comparison. And I will add my own points as well. First of all, as it states here, there is no wrong or right answer. So whatever is the easiest to talk about is the right answer, actually, for any speaking tests ever that you're going to take. No one's going to check if you're lying. No one's going to score you on right or wrong. Your answer always for any and every question on any and every speaking exam, the correct answer is the one that is easiest for you to talk about. Always remember that. Don't feel like you're locked in and you have to tell how you really feel about something. You don't. Nobody cares. Okay, whatever's easier for you, and will get you a better score. Okay, here's a template. All right. Much like Anton did, he started out very much the same way. The man's problem is, I think Anton said exactly the same thing. Great. The man's problem is that he has two projects due at the same time. Okay. Okay, now Anton, your small problem here, one problem, you said he have no time. It should be he has no time. Subject-verb agreement there.
I fixed it in the last sentence.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. To fulfill all his classes. Well, I loved fulfill. That was a great word, but I would have said to fulfill all his work for his classes. Okay. So it's not that he can't take his classes, he can't do the work. As it says here, he has two projects due at the same time. Now, okay, saying the man's problem is that he can't get all his work done for his classes. That's just as good as he has two projects due. Again, there's many, many ways to state this problem. Probably 1,000 different ways to say this. As long as the English is correct, doesn't matter how you say it, but say it. Notice in the example here, this is very, very direct, and the speaker gets it out of the way very quickly. Again, due to that whole 60 seconds thing, you need to just state it directly. Don't try to add details to your statement about the problem. Just go direct. Now, you should, here's the part you missed, Anton, and I didn't bring it up. I didn't coach you about it at all. You should, this will make it easier later, you should state the possible solutions. His friend offers two possible solutions. He can ask for an extension or he can drop the class. Again, extremely direct. Don't beat around the bush. Don't use redundant language. Totally unlike IELTS, where they would love you to say, well, there may be two possible advantages. On one hand, if he really wanted to, he could probably get an extension if he asked a professor. However, on the other hand, he may want to just drop the class. That's an IELTS answer. That would be solid gold for IELTS. You can't do that in TOEFL. You just don't have the time. So you've got to attack the question succinctly, efficiently. You've got to really attack it and state it plain and simple. Boom, get it out of the way. Okay. Before I continue, let me quickly welcome Cornell. Hello, Cornell. How are you?
Hi, okay. I'm more or less. And you?
More or less. You're more or less?
Yeah, because I got flu or something like that, so I am coughing and yeah.
Oh.
I don't feel very well.
All right. Not at the top of your game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hope you feel better. And hello to Ken. Hey there, Ken.
Yes,
welcome.
hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, welcome. Okay. Clear, quick, and succinct. Now you should memorize this before you ever take the test. Just state the problem, state the solution, state your preference directly. I think asking for an extension is a better solution. Fine. Anton thought dropping one of his classes was a better solution. It doesn't matter. There is no wrong or right answer. Okay, Anton, actually you did that pretty well. You were pretty direct with your preference. And then reasons. Okay, you used because. Well, just like in my example, Anton also, I did here because. I think he should do this because. Okay, and here we revert back to, well, for Ken and Melkor and Cornell, I think you saw the class the other day. Reason, detail, reason, detail, reason, detail, or point, detail, point, detail, point, detail. Same thing. You really need to be doing this to get a top score. You got to give your reason. Example here, an extension is better because dropping the class is too drastic. It seems silly to drop the entire class just because of one conflict. Okay, a couple sentences, that's it. That's basically, it could be, all right, fine. In this case, obviously it's an opinion, so this is clearly his detail is an opinion. That's okay. That's okay for question 5. Question 5, you're supposed to be giving an opinion. So using your own opinion and an emotional opinion about it is perfectly okay. Okay. What you missed, Anton, is you only gave me one reason. You're really, to get a top score, to get that possible 4, they score 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. To get that top score, you're really probably, the emphasis is more on the opinion part, if you'll notice. Stating your opinion and then supporting the opinion. That's the more important. The other 2 sentences you're going to use are background. Yes, you need to give the background if you want a top score, but the focus is on showing that you can give an opinion and support it with at least 2 reasons. When you're giving your opinion, you need to use connectives, or first of all, another reason, or additionally, or secondly, or also. That's another important point. Absolutely, you have to be using these signal words and signal phrases. There's no way you can get over a 3 if you do not do that. It's not possible. You cannot get a top score without it. Okay, what does this guy say? Well, I also think an extension is better because the professor will probably give the student one. The woman told of a similar situation and she was able to get an extension. Okay, an example. This is where if you were writing notes as you were actually listening, you might have jotted down something like woman example quickly in your notes to help you provide again the detail. This is it. This is for them. Question 5. This is basically, there's nothing fancy here. There's no idiomatic language. It's all very, very straightforward. But he has definitely accomplished answering the question, which is content is 33%. His organization is good. It follows a clear and logical normal pattern. And he uses the connectives. That's another third of your score, basically organization. And the other third of your score is vocabulary and grammar. He uses complex sentences simply by using connectives. That helps him use longer sentences. That's another reason you want to do that. And he uses all his vocabulary correctly. He doesn't overuse vocabulary, doesn't use the same word over and over. That's it. Keep it simple and direct, and you can get a top score. Okay, again, 20 seconds to prepare, 60 seconds. Let's try another one, shall we? Anton, this time, I'm going to have you help me do the dialogue, okay? You and me are going to do the dialogue. Melchior, you listen carefully, okay, because I'm going to have you try a response. First, the narrator. I'll be the woman again, Anton, all right? Okay, first the narrator. Listen to a conversation between two students. Did you hear about the school's new parking policy? It's going to be a problem.
No, I don't drive. So what's the deal with it?
Well, they've changed the rules so that freshmen have to park all the way down near the athletic center. That's so far away.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. I think because the seniors have complained that there's not enough parking on the main campus. All I know is that it's going to be a big inconvenience for me.
Is there anywhere else you can park? I mean, the athletic center is pretty far. Maybe you can park off campus.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd be afraid that something would happen to my car. I don't use it all the time, so it would be unattended for a lot of time.
I guess I did think of that. I have an idea. Maybe you could find a garage for the car. It probably would cost any more than you pay now for a parking tag.
Maybe, but I'd have to find a garage close enough to campus that I could walk to. And that's it. Okay. Then the narrator, again, your friendly narrator. The students discuss two possible solutions to the problem. Describe the problem and state which of the two solutions you prefer and why. Melchior, I'm going to actually share the template with you, so okay. You can actually. All right.
Would you like me to answer now, Oakley?
Sure. I was giving you your 20 seconds, but okay. Yeah, we're about ready. Okay. Go for it.
The female student's problem is about parking policy that the school is going to implement. The senior students are complaining about it, and they're going to park a bit far away at the Atlantic Center. Two solutions are offered to her by a friend, and the first solution is for her to park off campus. The second solution would be for her to find a garage where she could park her car. As far as I'm concerned, I think the first solution is better because if she could find an off-campus parking, that would be an ideal place where she could park her car. Although there might be a chance that there might be thieves, but as far as in my experience, there are lots of policemen manning the parking areas every time. So I think the first solution is better than the second.
Okay. Okay. Now that was structured very nicely. If you could have given a second reason, that would have been even better. That would have guaranteed a top score, because everything else you did was good. However, I will tell you something else. I think you were almost out of time. You were virtually out of time. But that's okay. You were out of time because you used kind of an extra sentence to, I think, state the problem.
Mm-hmm.
However, that could have worked in your favor. You could have been cut off.
All right.
Getting cut off in the TOEFL test, in actuality, can actually save you. It's quite possible that that's the point where you start making a mistake and it gets cut out of the recording, so they never hear it. So I think, depending on how the timing went, I didn't actually have a timer on you. I didn't want to put that pressure on you, but that was actually a very good response. Okay. Only one thing could have made it made it any better, and that's a second reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I especially liked is going to implement. Okay, you know, you probably don't even realize you did this, but you combined a present tense with a future tense, and you used the correct future tense. Great word, implement, vocabulary-wise. As far as I'm concerned, you had the introductory signal phrase, the connective there. And because you stated the two solutions, I like that you said I would choose the first solution. That's great. That's actually suffices as another type of connective. Terrific. One small problem. There's usually policemen around parking areas every time. You should say all the time.
All the time.
Or in reality, try to avoid absolutes most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Would probably be an even better response. And actually, that is a general tip for IELTS or TOEFL or CAE or anything else. Try to avoid. It's not a big deal, but try to avoid absolutes. Always, never, impossible, things like that every time. Okay. For a couple reasons, because as you read the academic material, a lot of the material you talk about or read or write about is academic, and in academic English, you're really not supposed to use absolutes. That's not the way science works. Science never says this is the way it is. Science never claims to be God and have all the answers. You should not do that. So to reflect that overall idea, try not to use absolutes. And the other more practical purpose for me saying that or advising that is simply because if you use less absolutes, sometimes quite often, you're going to end up with colloquial expressions, collocations, more. Usually it's quite possible that these kinds of phrases, which are much more natural English, you end up with better connectives and better, more complex sentences, more use of modals, definitely, and adverbs, probably, maybe, quite possibly, these kinds of things. It adds a little bit to your language. So try to avoid absolutes, but that was actually very good, Melchior. You're improving by coming to class every day. I'm quite impressed. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Actually, makes me feel good. Okay. Boom. Let's move on. We're halfway through class. Here we go. Our final question. Tough one. Okay, this is another summarizing question. Last question. This is a lecture. Ugh. Okay, again, it's going to be a lecture on an academic topic. Okay. You don't have the chance to look at reading and the listening to sort of compare. You're not really comparing things. The beauty with question 4, where you have a reading and a listen to a lecture, you can actually, as you're answering the question, you can actually see the reading as you're speaking. So it will help you to remember points. Here, you have one chance only, to listen, and most people find listening to a lecture more challenging than listening to conversation, for example. Okay, it has some good advice here while listening. Now we're going to look at it. You know, we're not going to actually listen. We're going to, because I want to go through this carefully. We're just going to look at the transcript. But first of all, what you need to do, you need to identify that main idea, and you need to try to catch all the details. You don't need every detail. If he brings up 4 or 5 points, if you've got 2 or 3 at least that you can really talk about, that's going to be good enough. But you've got to get the main idea. And in fact, if I'm writing notes, I might write MI dash main ideas. But while, for example, the narrator's talking, or while it's setting up for the question, I might on my notes write MI, and then P1, D1, P2, D2, point 1, detail 1, point 2, detail 2. I set it up and organize an outline for myself in my notes. That's what I do. As far as how you do your own notes, you do whatever you're comfortable with. If you have another system, I'm not saying my system is the only system. It's just that's what I do. Okay. So, once again, now I'm going to do the whole freaking lecture here. Cornell, I want you to listen very carefully, because I'm going to ask you to do the question. Okay?
Listen
All right,
to
get
lecture.
excited. Are you excited? I know you're excited.
Not.
We'll take into account
is a-
you're not feeling well.
Yeah, it is not a very good subject. Sociology.
Sociology. Yeah, I know. This is a tough one. This is very common, though, I have to tell you, for a TOEFL exam. Subjects like sociology, archaeology, paleontology, any kind of natural, these are very common. Psychology, definitely. Anyway, okay, here we go. I'll be the professor. Here I go. First, the narrator will introduce. Listen to a lecture given in a sociology class. Okay. Now, oftentimes, when we think of the internet, we think of it as the ultimate expression of free speech. There is no regulation of content on the internet. People and organizations can put anything they want on the web. Also, the internet allows access to a huge amount of information. You can find almost anything you want there. But social scientists have argued that the internet is actually responsible for a new type of censorship. In most cases, censorship involves a suppression of ideas, but the internet censors material in a different way. According to these sociologists, the censorship found on the internet is subtle, but just as bad as any form of censorship. Basically, the internet censors viewpoints by having too much information. That's right. Because the internet contains information from companies, organizations, individuals, and even the government, any one viewpoint or idea can easily be buried under the tide, meaning that no one is exposed to it. Another way the internet increases censorship is that because it is so vast, information becomes harder to find. Popular search engines direct users to the most popular websites and very seldom do people take the time to look at any more than the first 2 or 3 sites listed. Thus, these search engines are practicing an electronic form of censorship. Unpopular ideas are hidden and inaccessible to the average user. Ta-da! Okay, and then narrator time. Using points and examples from the talk, explain how the internet has contributed to censorship. Okay, that's it. Basically, you're reporting the lecture, almost as if you heard the lecture and your friend stayed home sick and you had to report to your friend what the lecturer said. That's basically it. So, Cornell, what do you think? I'll give you some hints. You want to state the main idea right away. Okay?
Yeah, it's not an easy topic for me.
Okay. Actually, okay, let me make another key point before I forget. I think I mentioned this 2 or 3 classes ago, maybe the beginning of the week. Don't forget to pay attention to the narrator. People tend to dismiss the narrator as just giving instructions, and you don't have to pay any attention to his content. Here's a secret little tip for you. In question 6, the narrator will usually restate what the main idea is in his request, in his question. For example, here, explain how the internet has contributed to censorship. And the narrator will also possibly give you vocabulary to use frequently. Okay, want to give it a shot, Cornell?
Yeah. First of all, the text was about internet and internet problem and internet behavior among the people, and the main problem regarding internet, that internet provides many information about everything. For example, government information. Sorry, my phone is ringing.
Oh God. Okay. Saved by the bell, literally. Ooh, funny. Okay. Ken, are you feeling up to the challenge? Would you like to try it?
Okay, but I forgot some details, but
Okay.
anyway, 60 seconds?
Yeah, that's
to
right.
answer? Okay.
That's right.
Yes. And then,
Here,
okay.
I'll actually let you refer to it. I'll actually show it to you. I'll give you okay, but make sure you state the main idea right away. Okay, the main idea obviously is the stuff in this first paragraph, his introduction. And again, that's academic, whether it's a lecture or writing, something you read, they're always going to state the main idea in the beginning paragraph, beginning sentence, what have you. But anyway, so you can maybe get some points, Ken. I'll do you a favor. I'll leave this on the screen.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes. I think I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. This lecture is about internet censorship, and in the first part of the lecturer points out internet speech are relatively free and free access to the internet. However, a new type of census is happening in the internet now, and professor mentioned, and the new type of censorship the kind of organization or government, whatever, can easily be bullied these information, and also search engines can control their search results. So this new type of censorship is subtle, it's hidden, but it is as bad as the past censorship. It's about this lecture is about such kind of problems.
Okay, all right. Okay, again, Ken, I think you need to slow down just a little bit.
Okay.
You're speaking a little too fast. Okay, I think you basically got it, though. I mean, what you had to do. Let's take a look at the template here and see how you compare the information Ken gave us. All right. Okay, let's take a look here. Now, let's look. This template is a little bit different. Okay, state the main idea. That's first. All right, you want to say in question 6, the professor argues that, the professor states that, the professor tries to convey that. Again, 1,000 ways to say that somebody says something. Again, I said this all week, but you need about 10 different ways in your brain in English to say that somebody says something. The professor speaks about, the professor puts the proposition forth that. You got to know how to say that about 10 different ways, because that will count through the test. You're reporting what other people say on like three of the questions. Actually the last 4 questions you need to say something about what somebody said. And you can't every time say the professor says, the woman says, the man says, or you're going to lose points. So, okay, that's first point. The professor argues that the internet actually promotes censorship rather than fights it. Now, remember what I said? That again, short and succinct. Remember what I said about the narrator? The narrator said, using points and examples from the talk, explain how the internet has contributed to censorship. He basically gives you like half the answer right there. Okay. All right, so that's what the professor's trying to do. That's what you're stating when you state the main idea. What is the professor attempting to do? The professor's arguing against, or the professor is supporting the idea that. The professor is arguing against the theory that. The professor is introducing another theory, an alternate theory, that blah blah blah. These are all types of things you're going to hear professor doing. Okay, then the first reason given by the professor is that the internet has so much information on it. That's it. Very clear and simple. There's just too damn much information. The internet contains information from a wide variety of sources, including governments and companies. That's it. That was the first reason. There's just too much information. Information overload. Okay, again, in this example, very, very direct, not very fancy information. There's no relative clauses, no idiomatic language, nothing really going on. Quite direct. Now, here's the tricky part we haven't really talked about. Explaining. Okay, reason, detail. Reason, detail. Now, length. Another way to look at this, easier, in my opinion, is why. Okay, this censors information because, here's why, because the huge amount of information means that some views will never be heard. Okay, so in question 6, there's a little extra element. In every question, we got reason or point and detail. Reason, detail, point, detail, point, detail. And 6, an element that is basically should be in your answer every time is the why. But why? Because the professor will say why. This is the first reason, and here's why. The professor says so. Here's the second reason, a little detail, and here's why. Okay, again, with the connectives, furthermore, the internet makes it harder to find information. For example, the professor states, again, another way to say the professor says, for example, the professor states that search engines only show the most popular websites. Why? How? This contributes to censorship by leading users to a very small number of websites and hiding the other sites from them. Okay, it links the two ideas, explains why or how this happens. Okay, just follows a little bit of the logical path. All right. Okay. Well, that's it. Okay. Let's try one more. So this is basically the idea. It's harder, but at the same time, it's still simple. You're still because you're just reporting an opinion. Basically, the professor, whoever's going to give an opinion for or against something or a new idea, something he thinks is a good idea. Maybe he'll be drawing contrast between two ideas. That's also possible. Or maybe he'll just be explaining something. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Cornell, are you back with us? Are you still on the phone? I think he might be still on the phone. All right.
Yes, here I am.
Oh, here you are. Okay. Okay, get ready. I'll give you another chance here. All right, and I'll show you the template when you answer. All right, so here we go.
It doesn't look like better than a previous one.
Yeah, this one's anthropology. I tried to warn you. These kinds of social sciences are very common in the TOEFL exam. That's not a joke. That's absolutely true. Yeah, you're right. This one looks even worse. I agree. Okay. Well, let's try it out. I'll be the professor again. Before I do this, any questions about question 6 so far? If you guys have any questions? No? All right, let me shoot this one out. Narrator, listen to a talk in an anthropology class. Hello, students. Okay. All cultures partake in certain rituals and ceremonies. Although these rituals and ceremonies may sometimes seem hard to decipher, the essence of these actions is representation. The motions and the items used in the ceremony or ritual stand in for or symbolize something else. Usually, the members of the ritual are trying to control or affect something that lies outside their power, such as the weather or the gods. So they must use symbols to stand in for it. For example, the Dieri people of Central Australia use a very symbolic rainmaking ceremony. First, the rainmakers are bled. Their blood drips into a hole in the ground, which represents rain dropping from the sky. Next, the rainmakers take 2 rounded stones, which stand for clouds, and carry them some distance away. They then place the stones high up in a tree, which symbolizes the height of the clouds in the sky. Or, for another example, there is the fairly common ceremony in which a victim is chosen to symbolize all the sins and wrongdoings of a culture. The victim is then cleansed, either through a ritual bath or through death, in order to wash away the sins of the people. In fact, this is where the term scapegoat comes from, because one culture used a goat as its ceremonial symbol. Okay. Here is the question. The narrator would say, using points and examples from the talk. Explain how the participants and items in a ritual represent other things. Okay. And again, well, here's your basic template. Cornell, first the main idea.
Yeah, okay. I would like to be in the background because it is very difficult for me.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to try this out?
Yeah, if I have some idea, I will
Okay.
talk it.
No, speak it. Okay, no problem. No problem, no problem. Who wants a shot? Anton? Or Melkor? Ken already tried number 6. One of you guys would like to try this? What do you think? Anton? No? Melkor?
I haven't finished writing the examples, but I don't mind
Okay.
trying.
Okay, all right. That would be great.
Is there any chance I could read the whole text? Oakley?
Yes, there is. Would you like me? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I haven't, like I said, I haven't finished writing, but I would try. Okay.
All right. I'll keep it here on the most part of the text.
Okay then. The lecture is about anthropology, and according to the professor, all cultures participate or join in a ritual or ceremony. They have particular motions to symbolize actions that mimics other things, like, for example, weather and their gods. In a particular ceremony in the Diri people, the professor said that there are objects that symbolizes things, particular things, like, for example, it's stones symbolizes clouds, and they place this stone on top of a tree to symbolize that the cloud is very high. And that's how the professor explained the culture in the Diri people in an anthropology class.
Okay, all right. Of course, magic number, as always. Actually, I can say that for pretty much any speaking exam at all. The magic number is 2. You want to try to give 2 main reasons, 2 main points. Actually, these would be points rather than reasons in reality. Yeah, okay, but you don't need all 3. Actually, there are kind of basically 3, maybe 4 points he makes. The stone, the blood in the hole here, the clouds in the sky, which is the one you mentioned, and then he talks about a victim is chosen to symbolize all the sins of a culture, and then he does have he mentions about using a goat. So he actually brings up 4 examples. It is not necessary to talk about all 4 examples. In fact, you never could. You would never have enough time to do so. But you should be shooting for at least 2 of them. So you can at least mention 2 of them. Oh, okay, now, still, Melkor, that was still quite good. It may not have been a 4, but I think it was probably at least 3. It was a solid answer. Many people... Actually, different people on the TOEFL test think different questions are the hardest question, but many people think this is the most difficult one, challenging. Okay, one small thing, Melkor, you said you had a simple goof up on your subject-verb agreement. Objects that symbolize, not objects that symbolizes,
Okay.
which is what you said, but that's small grammatical error. Mostly your sentences were constructed well. And your organization, again, that is so key. Your organization was good. It's just you should have had another reason. So, okay, so here's what would happen. Maybe they would average up your score. Okay, vocabulary was good. Small grammar mistakes, 3.5. Which Grammar and vocabulary is 1/3 of your score. Then they look at your delivery. Okay, did he have long pauses or repetition or anything like that? And was he organized? Did it all make sense? Did it go in the right order? Yes, it did. I would say that would be very high. Maybe you get a 4. Okay, but then you only gave one reason, so it would be insufficient content, and you'd get a 2. So there you go. 3.5 and a 4 and a 2. You average out for this one question. 9.5 divided by 3. You've got a 3 or a 3.5 there. I mean, that's how it works as far as the scoring. So it's a big, big deal, the organization, because it has an effect on the other 2 aspects. So to conclude, since we're finishing up our week, I've been going on and on about being organized. If you're organized, that affects strongly your delivery and as well your ability to construct complex sentences, so it affects the grammar. So anyway, okay, so we've got like a minute or two. I just want to quickly mention a little hints for those studying, some things to brush up on. Words that indicate preference, superlatives, and comparatives: favorite, best, better, superior. Okay, words that describe. Okay, fine. Transition words is the big one. That's pretty much it. Okay. We've only got like a minute left. Anybody have any last questions as I conclude TOEFL speaking exam stuff? Any last questions? Okay. Well, in that case, I would like to thank you very much. Actually, you 3 guys been here pretty much the whole week, and I really appreciate that. So I do want to extend my thanks. Thank you, gentlemen. And nice job. And I hope you guys learned something, and I hope it helps you out.
Yes, thanks so much, Oakley, for your help.
Melkor, anytime. Glad I
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, take care, Carl.
Bye-bye.
Melkor, seriously, I do think you've improved. So it's really
Okay, thank you so much. Okay.
It's actually my pleasure, honestly.
Okay. You're a great
Bye-bye.
mentor. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Take care.